competing in arenas that have stood the test of time, where glory and failure are separated by fractions, where victories are rescued from the jaws of defeat. This is where history is made. This is Formula One.
Hello guys, and welcome to a video preview. Yes, we are bringing you videos and a preview together. So it's a preview and a video together. Gary, would you believe that?
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
It's never happened before, mate, I'm
It's never
sure.
happened before. No, it hasn't. But yeah, that's what we're doing, and we're going to preview F1 2013. We got code of that recently. Quite an early-ish build. A few modes in there. So you got the classic mode, which is I guess, the unique selling point of this year's version. There's a scenario mode, which is brand new as well. You got a few other. You got time trial in there, time attack. Grand Prix. You can't play the full career mode or anything like that, but that will be in the final game. Gary, I know we were discussing before. The classics is what a lot of people are looking forward to, right?
Yeah, definitely. That to me, that's one, because I didn't really play 2012. I played bits and pieces, but this sort of sells it to me a bit more. It just sounds awesome, especially with like the classic cars, obviously, and you've also got Murray Walker,
Legend,
providing a commentary, which is just awesome. Yeah, so it sounds really cool.
Yeah, no, it is. It's one of the options in the menu. So you go in and you've got F1 Classics. And I must mention, loading up the preview code, it's like the whole menus and stuff. Got a real Forza feel to it, which is kind of like a slick feel, like you got the voiceover and everything going on. So they're they've changed the presentation a bit. But yeah, you go into the classics mode and you've got Grand Prix, time trial, time attack, and scenario mode. And you hear good old Murray Walker's voice, so he's sort of talking you through each mode. And in terms of the cars, I guess people want to know what cars the classic mode has got in the preview code anyway. We've got the 1988 Williams, Lotus, and Ferrari. 1980s Williams and 1986 Lotus. So a few classic cars in the preview code. But yeah, it's Gary. You played NBA, right? The NBA 2K games.
Yep.
This is kind of taking the presentation style from there, sort of borrowing it from there. So when you go in to a race, it's got the old style sort of filter on.
Oh, cool.
And you've got the graphics, like the really old style graphics that the F1 used to have. Yeah, so it's pretty cool, and even because the cars obviously are different. The current day cars, like if you got the TV pod view, you see like the shiny front and the two wheels. You see like a shorter view because the cars are like the front slightly smaller.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've got the details in there, which is really cool. And if you go into the pit, sort of the full cockpit view, it just looks like really basic.
Because I suppose it was back then. Like
Yeah.
the technology now is completely different to what it was back then. So yeah, it does make sense, I suppose. But
Yeah, I mean they've got it down to a T in terms of the details, which is really cool. Yeah, so that's basically the classic mode you've got there. I can't really talk about much more because you've got the Grand Prix there. You can do Grand Prix on Brands Hatch, which is really cool. So it's a new track, I guess, and you've got Jerez as well. I think I'm pronouncing that wrong. Is it Jerez or Jerez?
I think it's Jerez. I
Jerez.
think.
Yeah, yeah.
But I could be wrong as well. So
Yeah, I'm sure the guys will let us know in the comments if we are wrong. So yeah, that's cool. So yeah, it is a really cool little addition to F1 2013. I think the hardcore F1 fans will really look forward to this. And like you said, Gary, even who haven't really played a lot of F1 games in the last few years, still looking forward to this classic mode.
yeah, it just sounds like a really cool addition. A lot of developers are doing the sort of classic stuff, and this just really sort of sells it. One thing about the classic mode, handling wise, is it very different to sort of like the current sort of Formula One cars, or?
So I think in terms of the handling model, that I guess leads us nicely into the handling we were talking about anyway. I didn't feel too much of a difference. Um, Maybe the cars were a bit more twitchy in the classic mode because I guess again, as you mentioned, the tech now is greater. So there's a bit more balance to the cars. But I didn't notice too much of a difference. which again I said leads on nicely to the handling, Gary. Nice segue. Um, so the handling in general, and this is going taking into the classic mode and the normal mode. Um, so I was playing on all assists first, just to get a feeling of how it feels with all the assists on. So even when you're pushing the car and you've got the assists on, it feels like you're on edge, or that like you could lose
Mm,
control of the car at any moment. But that exhilaration you get when you're pushing the car to limit and you're taking the corners very nicely and it's going at full speed, it's really, really good. But when you turn the assists off, like you turn traction control off, ABS off, everything off, braking line, everything, turn it all off, and you're pushing the car, and it really feels like there's even more sense of dread at every corner.
mm.
Especially that even when you're going at like on the, at high speeds in a straight line, you feel that at any second the car could just lose control. And to be fair, I did lose control even in straight lines. It was like really, really trying to like to keep grips the wheel and making sure the car's nicely balanced. It's really difficult with all the assists off, and this is me just playing with a control pad.
Mm.
So even with a wheel, you'll get an even better feeling of what it kind of feels like to be in the F1 car, I guess almost. What do you prefer to play on? Like, is it all assisted, or do you go like a few assists off here and there? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sort of in between the both. I did when I first got I think it was 2010 maybe 2010 or 2011. I went full manual and I just struggled and it
It,
became so frustrating. So I normally sort of go between the two. I
yeah.
don't like it all assisted because I'm not, like you say you've played 2013 and you
Mm,
said it's still even with all assists on it's very it still gives you that adrenaline
it
rush.
does.
But I found with the sort of older F1 games from Codemasters that it was a bit too sort of
Mm.
assisted
Yeah,
is probably the best word to use. So yeah, I do try and sort of go sort of down the middle, and it just gives you that. It gives you a bit of sort of. It gives you a bit of assistance, but it doesn't
bit
sort
more
of.
leeway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Because you
but
don't want
yeah,
full assist in terms of the braking anyway, because you want to brake at your own sort of point.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and even with like ABS and traction and everything like that, you might want to put it on medium just to get a feel of things, I guess, before you get into full, with everything like off.
Mm,
I know one of our team members, Aaron, like he's all about having all this. He starts playing with the wheel.
he
Uh,
loves it.
I'm making a cockpit at home himself probably as well, so I don't know. And then sitting in it, but yeah, he got me into playing with all assists off, and with every new F1 game that Codemaster released so far, playing with all assists off has been ever so slightly more difficult.
Mm,
Which is, I guess, what the fans want. The hardcore fans want that true simulation experience.
yeah.
And when you turn the assist off, it's getting, it's like getting there type of thing.
Mm,
Um, so really did feel that, and then playing in the wet with all the assists off is like, sort of Bambi on ice almost.
like hell.
Yeah. So I played a couple of wet races, and with assists on, and even with assists on, it was just like you have to be really careful about sort of how you get onto the throttle, and if you brake too hard, you have to gradually brake, and sort of gradually get onto the accelerator as well. It's and when they were the assists off, it was like, Jesus, I just couldn't race.
Yeah, it's very,
Couldn't
very
race.
difficult,
I just couldn't
especially
race.
in the rain as well.
Yeah, but I
It's
guess that's
insane.
that's music to the guys of the hardcore, to the hardcore guys who like turn all the assists off and play in the wet races, and it's like really you have to concentrate
Mm,
every corner. I played it. I played two races on Spa in the wet because that's known for being one of the best tracks in F1. And it's usually raining there anyway. So I played on that, and I was really struggling, really struggling. I started in fourth place, and I finished up. I think it was 12th. So really, really struggled. um,
mm,
and I was playing as Kimi Raikkonen, so in the Lotus. But yeah, so the handling model, it's I guess a bit more tweaked compared to last year. With all assists off, it feels a bit more difficult than 2012, and with assists on, even though it's not a proper simulation, I guess it still gives you that sort of feeling of speed, and the feeling of speed is great.
mm.
Uh, and that was great in the 2012 and 11 as well. I'm not sure how you feel.
Oh, definitely. Just one question.
Yeah.
What camera angle do you use?
I use if I'm playing with a wheel, I like to use the cockpit view, because it gives me that proper sense of playing with the wheel. If I'm
Yeah,
playing with a pad, I go with a TV pod, which is the one they use in all the trailers uh, and and the videos that they've released so far of the hot laps. So it's kind of like you see the front of the car, the two wheels,
yeah.
the mirrors, and the guy's helmet sort of moving around as you're
That's
racing.
exactly the same one I use all the
Yeah,
time. You just get that sort of greater sense of speed from it, I find.
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't. I remember back in the day when I was younger, I used to use the view where the sort of like the cameras behind the whole of the car.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But that's no, we don't do that anymore, do we? We
No, we
just
don't.
go for we
We are
try
a
and go
bit
for
hardcore now. Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So
Yeah. So yeah, so the handling again, yeah, it's yeah, it's improved. I can't really say much more there without having a proper sense of it, like a career mode or something like that. But from what I played in the preview code, uh, very good, very
like
impressive.
like you say, every release that Codemasters bring
Mm.
out, the physics are going to be improved. So it's
Yeah,
obviously going to be more simulation everyone it seems so which is what people want, so it's definitely a good thing.
yeah, 100%, 100%. It's not a bad thing. Um, and then with the 2013 season, so if you come out the classics mode and you've got Grand Prix options in the preview code, could only race in Australia, China, Germany, Hungary, Belgium, Italy, and Brazil. So not the full hog there, but and you've also got the classic tracks, Jerez and Brands Hatch as well. Um, and what's new to this is the scenario mode, which is pretty cool. So I mentioned that that's in the classic section as well. So like, so we're huge footy fans here as well. In like the old FIFA and PES games, they used to have like a scenario where you were 2-0 down or something like that, and you had to play for like 20 minutes with 10 men and come back to draw at least.
Mm.
So you've got a similar thing in F1 2013. Um, so there was one scenario so there's different sections. There's a rookie, and as you go along, it gets sort of harder. And you can change difficulty as well. So bronze a difficulty, silver difficulty, and gold difficulty. So I played on the Brazilian track. So when Lewis Hamilton won the championship,
Yep.
and he had to finish in a certain position, even though he wasn't winning.
Yeah, I remember. Yep.
Yeah, with the last few laps. So that was kind of the scenario. So I'm in a McLaren.
Wow.
Yeah, and I had to do that. But the thing about it's really good that way, and I don't want to say it's a negative addition because it's a great addition to F1 2013.
Mm.
But they don't say like you're Lewis Hamilton, so it's just like you're a rookie driver. It's your rookie season. You're in a McLaren, and you have to finish second to win the title, or I think it's second and above.
Mm.
Um, so it kind of loses a bit of gravitas almost, like in terms of you don't feel like you're trying to be Lewis Hamilton and trying to finish second or above to win the championship. If that makes sense, does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah, it sort of loses its authenticity. It's just
Yes, exactly.
what is the reason behind that? Do you reckon it's licensing or?
Possibly. I know Formula One are very stringent, even more so than like with football games, very
Mm.
stringent with their licensing. So maybe they had to, negotiate with different parties to get particular licenses or like a lookalike in terms because it would be really cool if like at the end if you did finish in like second place or above and you see Lewis Hamilton get out of the car, celebrate, all that sort of stuff like that.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't have that. It doesn't even refer to the driver as Lewis Hamilton.
Wow.
Um, and doesn't even refer like because you were battling Felipe Massa at that point to win the championship. So it doesn't even refer to that, which is a bit of a downer, I guess.
Mm. Does it have the right cars or is
Yeah, it has
are
the
they
right cars. Yeah, it
okay.
has the right cars. So you are in a McLaren.
Mm.
But it's just it loses that, as you said, a bit of edge in terms of authenticity. But in terms of the mode itself, it's got some great options. Like you start, there's a rookie set of scenarios, and you go into a bit of harder ones as well. So it seems like there's quite a bit to for you to get your teeth sunk into there.
Mm.
It's a pretty cool mode. And then you've got that's in the proving ground sections. and you've got time attack there as usual, and you've got time trial. So yeah, I mean that's kind of what you've got in this preview code. I mean, there's not a lot to go by, but it gives you a good idea of what Codemasters are aiming for in terms of the final release. I mean, if you were to just make a decision on what I've said so far, Gary, in terms of like maybe picking it up, what would you say?
I'm very interested because of the whole classic
Yeah,
section. That just shouts like awesomeness to me. It just sounds really cool. Just sort of revisiting all those classic sort of cars and um, uh, the scenario mode did until you sort of said about the whole. It doesn't have the proper sort of names of the drivers, etc. But that again, that still sounds like quite a
it is.
cool mode. It seems like you could spend and lose hours in there.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's I didn't like I say I didn't buy 2012, but this seems to me like I could be back on the um, F1 calendar with F1 2013. So yeah, it's got me intrigued, put it that way.
good man, good man. Yeah, no, no, it seems like it's like they've improved on 2012 from what I've played so far, especially the handling. As you mentioned before, the handling is really good.
Mm,
Gives you a sense of speed, the real sort of F1 feel, I guess. In terms of issues, I guess people will want to know issues in terms of preview code. Um, Loading times, I do as you'd expect right now, because this is really early. Not to say really early code; it's early code, so loading times are a bit long. But I expect that to be improved for the final release. The AI is good. Uh, it's really aggressive right now. So in races, it's like really put like trying to get into your back and sort of lose your rear wing uh and like really pushing you. Um, and that's even on like the lower settings. So I
wow.
guess there's there's a bit of AI and difficulty balancing they need to do there in terms of how you're pushed when you're racing.
Mm,
So those will be sort of the main concerns. Um, Bit of a frame rate stutter here and there, but again, early code, you'd expect that to be improved in the final version. One positive that I forgot to mention is like the visuals still are really good. And this is me playing on PS3 with this preview code. Wet races look amazing. Like the droplets of water, and it even sort of distorts your vision when you're like
mm.
sort of pelting it down at high speed down a straight. So you have to take that into consideration as well. Um, and
That's good news about the PS3 version looking very nice
oh, and that's yeah.
because over the sort of last couple of years they've I don't know if it must have been a development issue, but
Mm.
the PS3 version has always looked far less
Oh, really?
polished
Okay.
than the Xbox 360 version. That was one of the sort of main concerns of a lot of PS3 gamers. I'm not so sure on 2012, but I know 2011 looked
Mm.
significantly poorer on PS3. So that's definitely a good sign if you're saying that
No,
it looks
it
very very nice. So
looks very
yeah,
nice
good.
indeed. And I played some dry races and sunny races as well. Again, look really nice. I guess the backgrounds environments are a bit dull, but it's kind of what you're expecting. Um, like the card detail to be a bit more higher than everything else, which is
Mm,
again expected. And you see that in football games as well.
yeah,
Like the pitch and stuff is great, but the crowds, on current gen especially, not that particularly great. But yeah, really good. I'm left with really good impressions after playing preview code. Um, can't wait to play the final release myself. I don't know, Gary, you even said there that you're interested. So good signs.
definitely.
Good signs.
Indeed,
Good
indeed.
signs indeed. Guys, hope you enjoyed watching and listening. Stay tuned to nextgengamingblog.com for more videos, news, previews, everything you can think of. Gary, cheers.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.